Hey everybody, in this episode I'm going to talk about Huawei, what's going on with them, how are the sanctions affecting them or the blacklist, and what are some new developments. So, we're going to talk about the new OS, we're going to talk about the companies that are leaving doing business with Huawei, and a little bit more. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, let's continue with some talk about China. I know I've been talking about it a lot. It's just been interesting to me, and so I'm talking about it. What is going on? What is going on? So, the United States continues to put pressure on China. And we have not let up yet. There has not been an agreement reached. What is going on, though? A company called Western Digital, this is backed up by a few sources, mainly the Nikkei, which I believe is a exchange, but also provides research and information. They have provided information reports showing that a company called Western Digital, which is a memory and I guess a storage company, digital storage company, has stopped doing business with Huawei. So this is just another shot against Huawei, another fight in the what I call economic Cold War with the People's Republic of China. So what is Western Digital? According to mybroadband.com, the U.S. storage company previously partnered with Huawei on mechanical hard drive, flash storage technology, along with providing Huawei with flash memory for its smartphones. A number of U.S. companies have suspended their partnership with Huawei following the placement of the Chinese company on the U.S. entity list, including Microsoft and Google. So, the CEO of Western Digital, Steve Milligan, told Nikkei that the company is working with the U.S. government and considering a license to resume trade with Huawei. So it's another shot against Huawei. And this is, it's a big deal. It said that Huawei makes up about 10% of their revenues, and I'm sure it's a big deal to Huawei. I actually think a lot of this is a big deal to Huawei. Personally, I did not expect the United States to ever do anything like this. I've said before, I like the Chinese culture. I like the Chinese people. I've got good Chinese friends. That being said, if there are legitimate reasons, which, according to the news and information I look at, there are legitimate reasons why there needs to be actions taken against some of these things that these companies do, these Chinese companies do. Like stealing IP and stuff like that. So if they're stealing IP, then yeah, something needs to be done about that. But I just never thought that this would happen. I never anticipated a president that would take these actions. For example, when I was growing up in high school and college, it was mostly President Obama throughout that whole time, really throughout 2000. He was elected in 2008, and I think I started high school in 2007. So, he was elected my freshman year of high school and didn't leave, until, 2016. And so basically after I had finished high school and college, then all of a sudden, we've got a new president who, oh, by the way, what I was getting at is I kept reading about in high school, our challenge with China, more as an adversary, not so much an enemy, just adversarial, right? Like a competition between nations, but not, we're not shooting each other. We're not taking down each other's governments, though I'm sure there's plenty of attempts at that. I just remember over the years just coming to this conclusion that, okay, we're not going to do anything about anything that people have complaints with the Chinese or Chinese companies. We're just going to let everything happen. This is the new normal. Just get used to it and get used to the world as it is. And, I read about when I was younger how Bill Clinton sold missile technology to the Chinese, and everybody's just pretty much not really done. Been very, very favorable, which is not a bad thing. But if there are negative actions being taken, it is a bad thing. So, never thought anything would happen. Now, President Trump is taking these hardline actions, which, like I said, if they need to be done, they need to be done. I'm not privy to all the information, but it looks like he's making the right decisions. Now, what has happened? China has had the company Huawei has had another big deal that's gone on. Apparently, China's Huawei Technology Co., this is an article from MarketWatch, has canceled the launch of a new laptop and paused production at its personal computer business due to restrictions on buying U.S. components. So, from the research I've done, Huawei had a small computer business. They have been operating for a few years now, and because they rely on companies like Microsoft and Intel for their operating system and chips, they are not able to continue production on these computers. So once again, it's another shot across the it's another shot in the economic Cold War between us and China. So this is, it's heating up, but it still seems relatively calm. I think Trump is trying to demonstrate that there are more levers than we thought we had that we can pull against these companies. Meanwhile, China is trying to diversify. I've said in many podcasts in the past, they are working on, building out logistics networks and stuff like that all over the world for these kind of situations. So we all know that Google suspended their Android license with Huawei. So what has Huawei done? As a result, Huawei has been rolling out its own operating system. We heard the rumors. It looks like they're going to be true. Stay tuned. I'm going to run through some ads, and then I will continue. So here we are talking about Huawei's new operating system. It says Huawei files trademark mobile OS around the world after U.S. ban. And this is from Reuters. I've seen it in many other publications. China's Huawei has applied to trademark its Hongmeng operating system in at least 9 countries and Europe. Data from a UN body shows in a sign it may be developing a backup plan in key markets as U.S. sanctions threaten its business model. The move comes after the Trump administration, we already know, put them on a blacklist. Huawei, the world's biggest maker of telecom network gear, has filed for a Hongmeng trademark in countries such as Cambodia, Canada, South Korea, New Zealand. Data from the UN World Intellectual Property Organization shows. It also filed an application in Peru in May 27th, according to the country's antitrust agency. So they are moving forward with their own operating system. Obviously, it's too early to know anything about it. There are rumors going around that it's pretty good, or not good, but fast. Obviously, it's probably not as good as Android. Android's just so integrated into everything. So, I don't think it's going to be as good, but I'm not a tech expert, so I don't really know. That being said, they are, shows a bit of a balkanizing that's going on around the world with technology, especially as the U.S. is pushing other countries to not use Huawei gear. It looks like we're getting into a technological arms race of some sorts of, I guess that's kind of what's going on here, right? We're trying to hamper each other from using technology. China's trying to use their companies to implement 5G technology around the world. We're trying to use ours to implement 5G where we can. And at the same time, there's just a lot going on right now between the U.S. and China. These are going to be very pivotal years. And I don't think that anyone should follow this with living and breathing the news itself. But I think we should all be more aware of what's going on, because the relationship between us and China is certainly what should be watched. This is going to be, in my opinion, much more important than what's going on between us and Iran or us and, many other places around the world. So yes, Huawei is rolling out their own operating system. We'll see how that goes, and we'll also see if we can come to a trade deal that enables Huawei to start using Android again, because the reports I'm reading show that this is still a backup plan, that they haven't fully latched onto the idea that they'll never be able to use Android again. So we'll see how this plays out in the long run. And that's all I've got on China news today. Thank you for listening.
The podcast you just heard was made using Anchor. Ever thought about making your own podcast? Anchor makes it really easy for anyone to get started. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing podcasts. Best of all, it's 100% free. Sign up now at anchor.fm/new. That's anchor.fm/new to get started.